What if you and I unify in you and I TY? What if you and I unify in you and I TY? What if you and I unify? Yo, what's going on, people? You're watching the Unity sessions on TLDTV, joined today by a very, very special guest, Mr. Fairchild. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing amazing, bro. How you doing? It's been a while, man.
Yeah, exactly, man. This part of like while we're talking just now about anniversaries of projects, I kind of feel like this is like a update on the timeline. Before I didn't even have to call you sir. You were like it was it felt like younger days, man. For sure, for sure. So it'd be great to get into talking about your growth, your maturity over that period, what you've seen. Because it feels to me, I might be wrong, but it feels to me like you're definitely conscious of time from what I see from your posts and your music. You kind of map things out. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, you're correct. I map things out. I'm a perfectionist, which often works against me
Yeah.
because where I should release something, I'll hold on to it till it gets perfect. But in actuality, sometimes just let it go. But I think it's always good to release something that you're happy and you're proud of. So you can go 100% with it without any regrets. So yeah, you're correct in regards to that.
Awesome, man. As someone who's a self-confessed perfectionist, then would you say the stuff that we hear, the stuff that's out there, are there stuff that you felt were perfect, or there's stuff that you felt I just need to get out my own way and release it now? What's the
My
balance there?
my own personal stuff.
Yeah.
There is not one record I've released that I regret.
Wow.
Um, yeah, well, yeah, I don't think there's any song I regret um at all. Like when I tell you that some of the songs people hear, they think I probably recorded them like months ago. No, I probably recorded it 18 months ago,
Wow.
and like we're going through getting the right mix, getting the right master, getting the right PR company, getting the right artwork. Like it's such a long process,
Yeah.
more on my behalf. And I think being at the position that I'm graced to be in, I can't slip when it comes to quality because
Yeah.
a lot of people, or some people, no, a lot of people, I'll don't need to be super modest, but a lot of people do look at me and others as a template. So
100.
been outside of the Christian sector. So not necessarily to please them, but more so I know that I do this for God. So if I've got non-Christians watching me, I have to ensure that I do a good service and due diligence to my Father in heaven that I represent. So yeah.
Yeah. I'll share with you a personal story. Like, I don't know if it was supposed to, but the Cain and Abel story has always just scared me. Like the ramifications of my guy just not giving of his best to God, and
Yeah.
kind of everything that that led to has always just like fear into me, which is why I think I put it exhibit similar characteristics sometimes. Where if we're doing something for God, it feels like there's a different pressure, which sounds like what you're describing, feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I think and you know what, it's not necessarily a pressure from God in regards to, Cain and Abel and the offer not being acceptable, but more so like on myself, because it's like if I'm representing God and in this wider space, I need to represent him well,
Yeah.
especially when you hear the notion of Christian rap being corny or or that Christian music isn't good. Thankfully, we've gone past that, but a lot of people still don't know that we exist,
Yeah.
or they aren't exposed to as much music that is already out there. So they might know of maybe three or four names, but there's a plethora of good Christian artists based in the UK. So I feel like being at the position that I'm at, an opportunity to be in, if I make one wrong move and then another prominent artist makes another wrong move, that could be detrimental to the whole scene and the whole fabric of it all. So ensuring that I maintain high quality and high standards is something that I pride myself on.
Yeah, 100. And I think it's appreciated across the board, man. Because I know
Thank
you're
you.
kind of speaking from one side of the fence on how people are looking at you. Have been someone that speaks to people who look at you. I would definitely say, yeah, like, and I kind of often like I scroll through YouTube comment sections because often to me they can be as entertaining as a video. So when
Yeah.
you guys throw out something, there's a select group of people where they say, oh, they've definitely upped the standard for UK gospel this year, or you get those kind of comments, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's not something that it's just a feeling on your side. That's real life right there, man. And so like I wanted to pick up with Illumination as we reminisce. So we
Yeah.
passed the 10 years, 11-year anniversary now. What did that album mean to you then, the Illumination album?
Bro, it meant everything to me. That was my debut album. I released that when I was at university. You may have heard me say previously on other interviews that I used my student loan to part fund that project. And when I made that album, I had no worries, meaning there was no pressure
Yeah,
because that was my first album. So I didn't have to try and top a previous album. When I released my second album now, there was pressure to top the first album. But Illumination, it was such a blessing because when I did the 10-year anniversary concert at the end of 2019, and I was performing the songs and I'm hearing the crowd sing it back line for line, line
yeah,
for line. And I don't know if that audience can sing or rap my second album line for line, you know? So to hear them rap it line for line back to me, it's the most humbling and overwhelming experience. And even till today, I'm still making money off that album. Timberland, the clothing brand Timberland, they used I Like It in one of the MTV documentaries. And I had no clue. So someone sent me a
really?
video saying, "Oh, it's so sick hearing you on MTV." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She sent me a video. I was like, "What show is this?" Because I had no clue
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had used my show. That's another publishing issue. I signed that song to a label and I signed a 10-year contract in 2010.
Okay.
So that 10-year contract should have just expired now. So I need to do all my legal stuff and see the back end and get my coin.
Yeah,
I need to get
yeah,
my coin.
yeah. Hey, Timberland are still in business, man. Go get your money. It's all,
Yeah,
it's all good. So like, it's funny because I always hear like people saying there's a magic in the first album that you can kind of never fully rekindle just
yeah,
because, at different ages, but if you were like 18, 21, whatever age you were when you made it, the album would have been like 21 years in the making, for example,
yeah.
Whereas every album after that, 2 years, 3 years, five, maybe, you know
But
what I
you
mean?
know what? Yeah, I sometimes I genuinely believe what you're saying is correct. I genuinely believe this. Sometimes it's nostalgia, because I feel like when people think of songs that maybe Bibles or whatever, or like an old school album, whether it's like I don't know, mm, uh, Kanye's first album or Lecrae's
Mhm.
first album or whatever, a lot of people love the early work just because of nostalgia. I feel like not that these artists, because a lot of artists are progressing and growing, but that first album, your first introduction, no one forgets their first crush. No one
Yeah,
forgets their first kiss. No one forgets their first heartbreak. No one forgets their first whatever that may be. So I
yeah,
feel sometimes it might be nostalgia that stops people because like, oh yeah, because sometimes songs remind you of people,
yeah,
songs remind you of moments. So when you hear I don't know, holler at me from Illumination, like, oh man, I remember my youth group when we went to this concert and it was so sick. And me and my friend
yeah,
were there and we're dancing and what. So I feel like sometimes songs are bigger than just songs, they're moments, you
100.
know. So I feel that tends to happen a lot when people make reference to people's first albums.
Yeah, because this is the thing, like, and on top of that, I think with what you're talking about and what you've captured, for a lot of people, it was their first Christian rap. So that's
Yeah,
a whole like different thing as well. And then on top of it, again, being the first Christian rap, because you know how it was with the early American stuff. It was that slow boom bap flow and stuff. Like they
yeah,
never heard it sound like that, even if they had heard it before. So I think it was a first of a first of a first, if that makes sense. And yeah, I
yeah.
think is definitely something that almost became genre defining. And you tell me on this one, but it felt like either a lot of artists weren't inclined to, or a lot of artists couldn't make something that sounded similar. So it seemed to stand alone from the typical grime or whatever else
Mm.
was going on at the time.
I think what my advantage was, or is, what was slash is that I'm actually a musician. So I'm not just a rapper. I understand musicality. Also, again, sonically, that album is quite diverse. So you
Mm-hmm.
got like one explicitly grime song on there. Then you've got like an electro song, you've got an indie song, you've got a song that fuses hip hop and rock. So I think my exposure to music definitely worked in regards to the album being received. And I guess having the money to pay um, established producers helped. So I had people like GP from New Direction who does all of SO songs.
Yeah.
Then I had Vic Tizzle. Then I had Jimmy James who does all of Governor stuff. Who else did I have on there? I had TP and probably one or two other producers. So thankfully, due to funds and relationship, I was able to either get free beats or pay for quality beats. And then I recorded it at Noah Robinson Studio or Vic Tizzle
Nice.
Studio. So between the two of them, and was mixed by numerous engineers and mastered by my guy Wes, who does like programming for like Retch 32, Miss Banks. Like he's the industry guy. So having access to these people allowed my project to, I guess, be received well and stand the test of time.
Nice. And creative curiosity with you saying that. When you say access to producers, are we talking beats or did they have some input in terms of what you were doing in the booth?
Both. My song Flashback, which arguably is one of my biggest songs from Illumination, that wasn't the style I was going for. I was going for like more of like a party vibe. And then GP was like, no, let's go here, bro. And I said, all right, let's try it. And if it wasn't for me listening to GP, that song would not be what it, bro, I'm telling you, it would not be what it is today.
Mm,
So having the input of producers, and I think I heard an interview about the difference between producers and beat makers,
yeah.
about producers like really seeing the journey of the song. I know of producers that will even tell the artist what flow to use on
Yeah.
the beat. So it goes down to not just the sonics, but also the cadence and the rhythm and the flow of the song. So producers like those are a blessing. I listen to so many songs today on the radio, American and UK, and so many rappers are rapping off time. And I'm like, doesn't your engineer care? Like someone, I've recorded a lot of songs with Vic Tizzle, G Kid, and then my new producer, Alex. There's no way they would allow me to do a verse that was out of time. Or if they're like, bit more energy, give me more energy, bro, I would do it. You know,
Yeah.
so it's good having producers, or rather, one on the second side now, having engineers that are equally invested in your record. Very important, very important.
Yeah. Because I mean, with you touching on that, I do kind of feel like it's not, while we're reminiscing here, it's not so much even a thing anymore. Like to me, from what I hear on the radio, like MC, technique, timing, cadence, like these things at one point were like prized possessions in hip hop. They were like genre defining. Now it's like, you can understand a bit of what half these dudes are saying, but like in between everything else, it's not really carrying the same weight. So I think for producers, like if you can jump to it, it's like it's lit, it's lit. Do you know what I mean? You don't need to change a thing.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. My recent single, "Creator of the World," I
Hmm.
more like a worship such hip hop kind of fusion song, and people messaging me saying, "Oh, the flow in verse two is so sick, bro," and I'm like, really? So I went to listen back. I'm like, okay, like I feel like I know I'm good at what I do, but it's like you shouldn't be surprised by people experimenting with their flows in songs, you know? And it I think it just kind of shows that, going back to what you said in regards to back then, people would really about the flow and the delivery and the cadence. But now, and it's not, I'm not generalizing everyone, I'm just saying some songs you often hear is the same flow. Like, for example, let's say drill. You know, the way you have to flow on drill is
Hmm.
that same da 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 da, and it can become very
Yeah.
monotonous after a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
So when you get like rappers, because there are a couple of rappers who are sick. You get rappers and they're like, whoa, I didn't expect to hear this type of flow on this beat. It really takes you out, and people really do appreciate being different.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate having different flows and different sonics and whatnot. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it touched on a lot of things, man. I'm trying not to turn this into old school reminiscing session, so I'm gonna keep it moving. But yeah, there's so many different elements to it. In terms of the genres, what's your main love? What's the genre that you feel is closest to your heart?
Do you know what's so funny? Yeah, I really like pop slash EDM.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, like, and the perfect balance would be someone like so Skrillex and Diplo.
Yeah,
But when they were doing that stuff with Justin Bieber, when they did like a couple of songs with him,
yeah,
like where are you now that I need you? That
yeah.
song and a couple others.
Sorry,
I
and
really like that because I really like hard hitting stuff, and I think I probably found it not difficult, but it a bit challenging, if I'm being honest, to find the right balance between making the music I love, because I love every song I make, but making music that translates to my hometown.
yeah,
So I perform a lot in Europe. So naturally, I'll make songs that favor that audience. But I think every artist wants hometown love.
yeah,
So everyone wants to say, if I'm from London, everybody wants to be loved in London. If you're from Brum, you need to be respected in Brum or England, to say the least. But
yeah,
sometimes if you're getting love in Korea, you got to do K-pop because that's where the money and the demand is. So even now that I'm making my putting the finishing touches to my next album, it's like, okay, have I covered all the right bases to get hometown love, but also to ensure that I'm true to myself. And another thing that I do intentionally is I make I make every album. Well, I've got two albums, but every song I make, I ensure that I have a song for the older Christians, so like the aunties. I got a song for the youngers. I got a song for like the hip hop rap heads, and I got a song for the wider global church. And I expand upon that. And I think being able to think like that really helps because you have to be intentional about where you see yourself. You
mm,
know, I see myself doing school weeks in secondary school. I see myself in youth clubs,
mm,
universities, churches who don't necessarily who wouldn't necessarily listen to rap. Then I do big arenas and stadiums. So I need to have songs that are new and current that I can hold down a 20 to 30-minute set without having to switch sounds. So yeah, I'm not sure if
mm.
many artists think about that, but that's one thing that I'm very intentional about.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, man, because I think this is the thing as well, where I feel like people are starting to forsake genre a bit nowadays. If we're going to try and attach a timeline to it, I kind of say since Drake was rapping but not rapping, like the hip hop heads have kind of changed what their taste is. Like, do you know what I mean? Like if DMX had done Marvin's Room, like he just wouldn't have been,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have really worked in the same way. But like this is what makes me kind of wonder, just because I can't tell from this distance away, like do people know how lyrical you are? And don't be humble for this question. But do people know, like when people speak to you, do they quote stuff? Do they say like, whoa, that bar where you did, do you get that?
I probably get like out of 100%, probably like 3%.
Oh man.
So people might clock, but might not say anything. Like I remember my guitarist had been playing with me. He's been with me for forever, like 8 years. And my song Tunnel Vision came in 2015.
Which
And
was
3 years
nuts.
later, thank you, bro. He said, I just clocked that bar. Go to Superman when I'm feeling Lois. Like
Yeah.
he's been playing with that song for 3 years and he
Yeah.
just clocked the line. So I feel like some people clock things late. I rapped I do a lot of like youth stuff over
Hmm.
Zoom during lockdown. And I was judging a talent show and he said, oh, do an acapella since you're here. I was like, all right, cool. So I did acapella and someone clocked a punchline that no one has ever come to me to say. So the punchline is uh Yeah. They saw Picture Perfect on Kiss. Now they want to pout. I just kept my light lit, so they want to take me out. For doing the Lord's biz, I got my hand on the plow. I would never forfeit like two couples working out, work it out. So she clocked that punch and she was like, oh my gosh, forfeit, like two couples working out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the first time anyone has ever clocked that punchline. And Tunnel Vision is probably like
You got the
the song.
cross-eyed bar on there.
Pardon?
You got the cross-eyed bar on there as well,
Hey,
right?
I got bare thing.
There's
Yeah,
like a minute. Like that's okay. Let me have a think before I say something crazy. But I think that is one has to be one of the most lyrical Christian rap songs ever. And if anyone thinks I'm crazy, you need to find something that's more lyrical before you just say I'm crazy. But going through it, because and it felt to me like today you were like, okay, pen game. Like that's how it felt, like listening to it, because of how fast it felt. Like it would have been on, like, that double time grime. It's just sonically, it was
yeah,
different, but the bag that you were in, it felt like, that lyrical, almost close to like where you'd be battling and just punch, punch, punch,
yeah.
punch.
Now, when I listen back to that song, I'm like, I didn't write this. This was God. This was straight God. Because yeah, and I love it when I can sit back and then say, yeah, this is God. This is God. And
Yeah,
I pray before I write, because I
yeah.
used to struggle with really bad writer's block. So
Wow.
I'd be like, God, like I actually can't write, but this is my career. So like, can you kind of help me? So and even up until 2019, I remember I had my first ever show in Ghana. A guy called King's Kid, he's like the biggest Christian gospel rapper in Ghana. He flew me out for a show, and he said, "Let's go studio and make a song." I was like, "Okay." Then he now brought a camera crew, and if you ask all my friends and my producers, I can't write in studio, and I was like, God, there's a camera crew here. Don't disgrace this London boy in Ghana. So and bro, when I'm telling you, yeah, I probably wrote one of my best verses bar television stuff ever.
Yeah.
Like
What was it called? What was the song called?
it's not even out yet. It's not even out
Is
yet.
it?
Yeah, the guy's been sitting on it for a while. He wants to get all this. We shot a video. We've done everything already.
Is it?
It's not released yet. Yeah,
Them
yeah, yeah.
ones.
Actually, I'll try to send you. I'll send you my verse. I'll email it to you.
Dope.
When I heard and when I played it to my friends, they were like, "Bro, keep that verse. Keep that verse for yourself." But yeah. So I truly love like when I can see God's work and God's hand upon my songs. And bro, honestly, man, it's all grace. It's all grace. Like I know I'm good at what I do, but there's people who are hardworking, more hardworking than me. Um, grime MCs that can spin me out of my boots easily, but they're not where I'm at. And I attribute what I have to grace. It's not that I'm better than the next man, you know. Where I'm at is grace, you know. It really is God's grace. And I never take the opportunities and the open doors for granted, because as you know, I've been doing this for a minute. Certain
Yeah.
many have come, many have gone. But by God's grace alone, I'm still here today, man. So I'm eternally grateful.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that has to be said. Like, was another bar as well in one of your most recent stuff? It's something like, I know Jesus of Nazareth, Israel,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
something like that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
What song
That's
was
the
it?
center of the world. Yeah, yeah. Uh, you see my weakness as a reason to love me. In and out of season, I can see that you got me. And even when I'm feeding and believing my worries, you remind me you're beside me through the good and the ugly. All things work together in your will. So I say to my soul, it is well. I get a breath of heaven when I inhale.
Oh,
Nazareth,
see,
Israel.
that's what I'm talking about. Like, oh my days. It's I don't know if it's the audience or what, but like I've literally been close to arguments like where I think literally just because of the sonics, right? Because normally when people listen to EDM, they hear it. They don't
Yeah,
really, what I mean, like listen bar for bar
yeah,
like that. Just because the content ain't there usually. EDM, we know what that is generally.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Festival vibe, jump up and down. But like when I say to people, Faith, it's like mad lyrical, It's like, oh, really? Like, I don't listen to that type. No, you need to listen, bro. So all you people out there, just know, like, the man just quoted a whole verse. I'm telling you right now as well, between the two of us, Faith Child is crazy lyrical. Let it be known.
Love my guy.
Let
You
it
know
be
what?
known.
Yeah, like I'm very, I didn't realize this until someone pointed it out. Like I'm very, I'm very particular about my rhyme scheme, but I didn't realize I was. Like it's just natural. So even that word, that verse, you see my weakness as a reason to love me. And then that season, I can see that you got me. Even when I'm feeling, I believe like I'm actually rhyming like that. And even like tunnel vision, like I rhyme front, middle, and back. And it's like, oh, like I don't realize I'm doing it until someone points it out. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that. So I'm just
Interesting.
grateful, man. I just have fun with it. I have fun. If people hear
Yeah.
it, they hear it. If they don't, they don't. But God's good, I'm still getting paid either way. So I'm grateful.
Oh man. So like nowadays, who do you listen to for inspiration to be inspired?
Yeah. The radio, literally,
Yeah.
the radio. So whilst I'm driving to wherever I'm going to, whatever's on the radio, I listen to it. Whatever my friends might send me, I'll listen to. So it might be like so Christian wise, it could be anyone from who do I like? Who do I actually like that's not a Christian artist? Okay, so I like John Bellion. He's more of a singer than not really a rapper, he's more of a singer. He's sick. Then
Yeah.
rap wise, who do I like rap wise? It's a good question. I don't know if I can give you an answer. Obviously, like Drake is there, but often when I listen to songs, I'm just listening to hear what they did. So what are the beats? Sonically, where are we going sonically with these things? What's the hook? What's the melody? So I don't really have artists per se that I necessarily follow like to see what you're doing or to learn from, but I learn from any and everyone if that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
that could be like in the gospel scene, you've got people like Oscar, people like Dave Creates, a lot of this kind of up and coming young gentlemen, young guys. I say young only because if you look at how things work out, they'll be deemed as the youngest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've got people like them, and obviously I know it's still shady and whatnot. And then you've got people like in Nigeria, like Limo Blaze, and a guy called Killer Frills and Henry Soul. Then you got people in America like the Ty Brazzles and the KBs.
Yeah, that was a hard
So
tune, by
yeah,
the way. New Era,
like,
you had both of them, right?
yeah. Both of them were on that. Yeah. So I really like KB's last album. Actually, I love how he fuses worship and hip hop. Like the
Yeah.
first song of the album, "Let It Rain." I wish that was my song because I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, this this is incredible because it's worship and like there is no self in that song. That song is just straight Jesus, straight worship, straight Yahweh. And it's like, I get mind blown because I know I'm a worshiper at heart. So if I could sing, well, I could hold a note. If I could sing, I'll probably sing more than I rap. Like I write worship songs, I can write them in my sleep. I got voice notes and
Yeah.
demos in abundance of worship songs. So yeah, I'm open to literally any and every genre, if I'm being honest. There's some guys in Netherlands, I think Netherlands or Germany called Obros. They're a duo, two brothers. So yeah, man, I'm open to any and everything, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, dope. Yeah, and again, I said it definitely comes out in your music. I just wondered if there was yeah, if there was one that was closer to your heart than the others. In
Hmm.
terms of the live scene that you're talking about, man, how's that whole stuff been affecting you economically and otherwise? Because I know you just stay performing live, right? So how things been?
When that's a lockdown in March, my whole diary got cleared from March to November. So that
Wow.
was March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 9 months of pre-booked work, deposits, were all like gone,
Wow.
minus the stuff that was already going to come in. And bro, like if I told you how much money I lost, like I can't even begin to imagine how much someone like Governor and people like Lecrae and the guys in the States lost because I lost dumb money. Like me and Governor had a chat, like, bro, what are we going to do? Like this, it got to that point where we're like, bro, this is not 3 weeks turned into, well, now it's nearly a year. Do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? It's nearly a year. So I've probably done less than 10 online shows. And for an online show, they're not going to pay you a full fee.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
they wouldn't want to pay your full fee. But hey, God has provided, man. I have other income streams, which I'm grateful for. But
Nice.
my number one, my heart is performing, man. Like, I think it was yesterday, I was like, gosh, I truly miss performing. Like, I am in my zone, my element. When I'm on the stage with people, I did an online recording with my band uh start of December for a business venture that we've done. And it was the best thing ever. And like we had
Yeah.
like the best in the game, like doing sound and whatnot. Like the sound engineer, he's my guitarist brother. He's done stuff like Rihanna, Ed Sheeran. He's presently Dave's sound engineer. We also had the lighting engineer. I think he's Dave lighting engineer as well. Had a sick videographer. Like we had like the full works, LED screens, me and the band, three-piece band, drummer, guitarist, bassist, rocking out to a camera. Do you know what I mean? To a
Yeah.
camera. So it was the closest thing you could get to performing. But I'm grateful. Whatever I can get, I'm
Yeah.
grateful.
Yeah.
But one thing I would say though is that God has really been opening my presenting and hosting
Yeah.
opportunities. Like I've been on TV quite a bit recently. I've done hosted countless of events on Zoom. I've done live events from venues where they broadcast it out. So God is really, and I think that's the importance of musicians, specifically musicians, because this applies to anyone, but them being able to hone in whatever gift they have, you know. So whether it's a presenting thing or just being able to go to YouTube, or I think there's a rapper called Big Zoo. I think he has a cooking show somewhere, or he likes to cook online or
Oh,
something of that
really?
nature. Yeah, so now that's now landed him, I think, an ad with I think Pret a Manger or whatever kind of company. So it just shows that opening yourself up allows you to more income stream. You see it all the time. Like Kanye, it's a rapper and producer, but he's got Yeezy. You know, he's
Yeah.
into fashion, so he's done that. You got Jay-Z, who has the
Everything.
drink. Do you know what I mean? The drink. Got the name of the
Do
Ace of
say?
Spades. Is that his? The
Yeah. Do
Juice? You
say?
know what I'm talking about? Yeah, whatever drink it is that he owns. So you know, there's so many.
He owns part of Uber as well, you know?
Yes, I knew Beyonce did. I didn't know he did it too. Because I think
Yeah.
she did a performance and she said, "Pay me less," and then give me shares in a company or something like that, or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Smart guy, man. So it just shows that as a musician, you shouldn't just stick to one. If you have the grace to do more, I don't want to pressure people. If you have the grace to do more, then by all means do more.
Yeah. How did you find it then filming? Because you did Big Church Stay In like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
name even sounds a bit awkward saying it.
I know
But
BCBR. Yeah,
how was that experience?
that was sick actually because that was
Yeah.
my first time doing anything like that. So I literally rang the band and said, "Hey, can you guys record from home?" They're like, "Yeah, sure." Can you send it to me tomorrow? Yeah, sure. So literally they sent it to me, and then I told my boy Danny, Mr. Dimension. He was based here, now he's in America. I'm doing an amazing thing. He's like, "Oh, I'll mix it for you. I'll master it as well." I was like, "Thanks." So
Mad.
I sent all the files to him. He mixed and mastered it, and it worked out. So I definitely want to create um more online content, definitely. And I think as creatives, don't be discouraged by metrics, you know, because I'm only getting 1,000 views, I'm only getting whatever. I'll tell you something. I don't get major streams on Spotify. I don't get major views on YouTube, but I stay booked, you know. Then you've got artists who have crazy streams, but when was their last performance, as in pre-COVID? You know, so you shouldn't necessarily use the metrics as a creative to judge your success. It's good to have goals, but you shouldn't necessarily use that primarily because yeah, I stay booked. And obviously it is God's grace, but it just shows that just because it's not translating in this space doesn't mean it's not translating elsewhere. So
Hmm.
that, I think that's something very important for artists and creatives to understand. And as my brother Icy says, you're always one hit away.
Yeah.
One hit away.
Yeah.
You don't know what song's going to go viral. You don't know what song's going to resonate. Just keep creating, keep creating. And I think two people that are testament of that are Michael Dapper and Manya Chihuahua. You know,
Hmm.
the two entertainers and creatives. Like Manya owned lockdown, and he's still
Yeah.
owning it today. And similar to Michael Dapper, he was doing sketches and skits for time before Man's Not Hot blew up. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
just shows keep doing your thing, man.
Yeah. How do you gauge success then?
I think you gauge success by your own metrics, by your own goals. So, for example, someone's goal might be just to release an EP. My goal is to release albums and tour the world. Somebody would say, I'm more successful than the guy that released an EP. No, I'm not. Because his goal was just to release the EP. He reached his goal. You know, my goal might be to tour the world. I performed in 27 countries. There's over 100 and something countries in this world, if not 200 plus. I don't know how many. So looking at my goal, I'm far from my end goal. This guy, he's accomplished his. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So and also again, as a Christian, making Christian music, you should gauge success, I guess, you can on people being touched and blessed by your songs, you know? And I think that's the struggle for many artists, you know, finding a balance between blessing the saints and progressing in your career.
Yeah.
Like people are, I only make songs just to worship God. Yeah, you do. But when Elevation or Hillsong or TD Jakes or whatever, when they sing a worship song that you wrote, you're going to get gassed. You're going to get gassed, you know, and I don't, there might be a small select group of people, but the majority of people don't write worship songs. I'll say the worship song, the worship aspect. You don't write worship songs to just be sang in your church. You would love for other churches in London to sing your song, churches in Kent, in Europe now. So if we're being honest, although we're doing it for the audience of one, we would love for ours to enjoy our expression of art.
Yeah.
And doing music is a business. Running a church is a charity, but also it's a business.
Yeah.
And I think some people don't clock that and don't really notice that. So I think it's important to, and I think the quicker you realize that, the more you'll be able to wise up, and then you'll be able to get what you're worth and increase your worth. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Wise words. And since you touched on that world tour and stuff, when you're gonna start dropping some hardcore Afro beats and just take over the whole continent over there? When's that one coming?
That's funny because I made an Afrobeat song which I'm never going to release. This was a while ago. It was like 2000 and time ago, maybe 15 or 14.
Really?
It wasn't, I didn't feel like it was true to me. So I was like, nah, but I'd perform it. Like when I go to African churches, I'd perform it and they love it. But for me to release it, I don't know. And I feel like that window's gone now for me to release it. If I'm to release something now, it will have to be like on the NSG or Wizkid or Burna Boy standard. I feel like the song worked for then, but not for now. So I got friends like Lima Blaze in Nigeria, Henry Soul, Angelo, Keller Frills. Then I got like bigger now, like Snatch, you know, and Tim Godfrey and those kind of guys who are more in the worship / scene. So when I'm ready to do Afro beat EP or project, by God's grace, I remember to send you some demos before they go live.
Yeah. That's it, because you know, it's almost like it feels like there's no such thing as a genre checklist, right? But if there was, it kind of feel like it's waiting to be checked, and just like knowing you and knowing your vibe and knowing, you know, you've never been someone who's been scared to experiment and try new things. I was almost wondering, when, because it wasn't surprising to me at all to hear you say,
What?
I got one.
It would be good for me to ask you, as a music lover, as someone that knows my catalog, do you think it's, I don't want to say detrimental, is it a good thing that I have different, I experiment with sounds? Is that good?
I think so. Here's the thing, right? And I'm gonna, just because he's a well-known figure, I'm gonna take Drake as an example. So if you come into the game with a sound, and you maintain that sound, eventually either your individual audience or the world simply just falls out of love with you. No matter what your skill level is, you know, you just have to change the sound. Like I look at someone like a Nas, and sometimes I get frustrated because of the potential that's there. There's no logical reason for Jay-Z to be bigger than Nas. There's not a lot, but the willingness to grow, adapt. Obviously, the Kanye boost helped, but it was also being open to the Kanye boost, you know? Because when I heard Kanye was doing an album with Nas, I was like, okay, back again, radio, are you ready? And then I heard it and I was like, this sounds like Nas produced Kanye, like, you know? So I think the reason why I said Drake then, so that's the first one. You have to change over time. You have to. The second one, views, I feel like Drake has always adapted well. But if you turn like 270 degrees or something like that, the car can kind of lose control a bit. So your fans of your
Mm,
last album, they don't really know what to do with this. You didn't
mm,
like spoon feed it to them bit by bit. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I feel
yeah,
like historically, looking at someone like Drake, if I say take a Scorpion or something like that as a recent album, it usually gives you, here's like what you were saying, here's three for you guys over there. You guys like Mariah Carey, right? Here, have this. You guys, yeah, you grew up on Michael Jackson, right? Here, you guys have this. You guys just like to hear people fight and battle, right? Here, have this non-stop. Where's gigs? Gigs, you hear? Let's get gigs. Like, so you get all of these little snippets that you just feed
yeah,
people. Here you go, fan base. Here you go, fan base. So I think it's not detrimental because anything more than 3, 4 songs, if it's starting to dominate the whole project, now your fan base has a decision to make. Don't
sure.
know if I like this new sound or not. But if it's like 3 tracks, 2 tracks, the worst case scenario is a skip button. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, if someone listens to music, you don't listen to an album and be like, it's not going to stand out to you if 1 track you skip, 2 tracks you skipped.
true. Yeah,
Classic hip hop albums, I skip part of Reasonable Doubt. I skip part of Get Rich or Die Trying. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
and they're certified classics, even abroad in it. Like, no one likes every Beatles song.
yeah.
It's,
It's
it's an
true.
acceptable standard. You have a couple of skips, so it's safe as long as it isn't a full project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you've given me all the boosts that I need to
Yes,
finish off my project. And I appreciate this conversation. Like we can talk offline later. I think I might send you some stuff just to let you know where I'm at.
awesome.
Um, so yeah, man, I appreciate that because I remember because I'm very eclectic, as you know, and I just make music that I love. Like I make music for me. Like bro, like my favorite artist or one of my favorite artists is actually Faith Child. Like I'm genuinely
It's really
one,
relatable, right?
bro. He's so relatable. I relate to him. But yeah, so I feel like yeah, making music I love. My thing is this: as long as the beat is banging, like that's all that matters, you know. Because I know the lyrics will be fine, long as the beat is banging, and that's what people want, or that's what,
Yeah.
or that's what's working now. I could do that, you
But this
know.
is the thing, like, it's hard to say it because, especially from the Christian perspective, it's almost like if you talk about yourself, sometimes it's almost like, you're doing something like a heresy or something. But
Yeah,
a lot of the time, the criticism, now that we're speaking openly, right? A lot of the time, the criticism has been Faith Child makes music for a different audience on purpose for whatever reasons.
yeah,
Whereas I don't know if anyone's ever got you to explain, I make this type of music, which, it doesn't sound like, it's not what you hear people playing off their phones or whatever back in the day. It's not that sound,
yeah,
but this is the music I genuinely love and enjoy making because I like it.
bro. And I think, and that's the thing. Like I I'm a musician. Like I'm not a hip hop lover. I'm not a hip hop fan. I'm actually not a hip hop fan. I just love music. And that's why I can make an indie song and then make jump and drill. I want to jump and drill. I just love music holistically.
Question
Yeah.
then, do you enjoy rap more than hip hop?
Yes. When you say hip hop, are you talking about like boom bap, KRS-One,
The sound,
Nas?
because I think for a lot of people, they've never thought of them as separate categories.
Yeah.
But like in this day and age, so what I'm hearing on the radio, like I would say rap and hip hop are different categories to the extent where I think coming from a Jamaican culture, we chopped it up a lot. We have terms like sing J. If you say to somebody a sing J, they don't know what you're talking about. Like, do you know what I mean? But for someone like a Drake-ish, we call them a sing J. Mavado's Cartel, you expect it to be able to sing and then also do the rap thing if you're going to be successful. Whereas I
Mm.
think within the American culture, for a long time, um, yeah, singing was almost like a forbidden art. And if you even got on a track with a singer, like, I heard Busta Rhymes speaking about this with Mariah Carey. It was reluctant to be singing or have a singer on the chorus because it's so frowned upon. So I think within UK and American culture, the concept of rap being separated from a sound is so alien
Mm.
that I
That,
don't know if
that's
people are even ready to hear you say, I'm not a fan of hip hop and I'm a rapper.
yeah, because like and me saying I'm not a fan of hip hop isn't me saying I don't like it. I'm just saying that my love doesn't end at hip hop. You know, like I sometimes I listen to country music. I listen to classical, I listen to jazz. Like I'm not sure how many rappers do that. And I emphasize I'm not sure. I'm not saying they don't, but unless they're sampling it for a hip hop beat or for a drill beat, I
Yeah,
don't think people know. Like for example, that popular song, I think it's called Whoopty or Whoopty or whatever.
yeah.
Na, na, na. They sampled a Bollywood song
Oh yeah,
for that. Who listens to Bollywood out of them guys? None of them do. But
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
producer clearly does, or he's aware. Hence how you got the video and made that a sample. So yeah, but it's good to know how people perceive in regards to them thinking I make music for another audience. Like, and as talking about the whole having a singer on the hook, a lot of my songs have singers on the hook because I know my commercial audience. A lot of it's only probably in recent times that you're hearing rap songs do very well without a singer on the hook. Without a singer on the hook. I think someone said, um, Dizzy Rascal Bonkers was the first number one rap song to go number one without a singer on the hook.
really,
So you've got Tiny Temper has Written in the Stars. Tiny
yeah,
Temper has Pass Up, which is Labyrinth is kind of that, you know, that thing Labyrinth does.
yeah,
But every song a rapper has that was number one has a singer on
hmm,
it and dubs. Well, Dappy to
yeah,
singer, Talisa was singing on it. Like rap songs don't necessarily chart that high
yeah,
in recent times about a singer on the hook in the
yeah,
UK, that is.
yeah. I mean,
And
I think
you've
it
got
even
people
does
like,
translate.
yeah, like I think Dave with Funky Friday, that went number one, right? Dave and Fredo.
Do you know what? Like, I won't front. I don't even look at charts because it's never made any sense to me. I think maybe once or twice I looked at the charts to see, oh, let me play this in order and see, like, no, 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 no. And I start looking at charts. But yeah,
Yeah, but typically, like, yeah, I know the audiences that I play. I know who I'm making music for. So I would have like one or two songs which I'll be rapping on the hook. But quite often, you would hear a singer on the hook.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the stuff I'm making now would favor. I got like maybe four songs that favors UK, and it's so funny because I got a PR agent to do the PR for my song That Was Then,
Mm-hmm.
which was like this is basically grime, but it's a grime fusion with like that kind of Jack Hughes Skrillex sound.
Yeah,
So a lot of the platforms, mainstream, is saying, "Oh, we love the verses, but we don't really understand the drop, and we don't really understand the beat drop, so we can't really push it." Like, bro, I've got emails from our publicist saying that, and it's like, bruh, like that's interesting. But yeah, like music is interesting. But I'm telling you, if I was Stormzy or if I was someone else and they did the same thing, it would get love and reception anyway. So people
yeah.
just follow fashion, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
A
man,
lot of people just
that's a
follow fashion.
crazy statement to make, man. Because
Yeah.
like like, especially if I go now, like people like the baby and little baby and them, like people just need to stop it. People need to stop trying to create these rules where there are no rules.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm hearing this M to the B, M to the B, M to I'm like, just stop, just stop. Can you imagine her sending off an email to a PR company? Like, it don't make no
Bro.
sense, man.
So talking about genres, there was a conversation on Clubhouse where there was a drill rapper that did a song with Rudimental. So for
Okay.
those who are listening, I'm sure you know what drill is. Rudimental do like drum and bass, pop, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Wiley was saying that he shouldn't be mixing genres. And it's like I was listening thinking, bro, you do what you want to do because
Yeah.
a lot of artists mix genres, and that sometimes is a pivotal moment in their careers. Like Dizzy Rascal was doing well when he did Boy in a Corner, but when he did Bonkers, when they did Dance With Me, I think it's a Dance With Me with Calvin Harris. When he
Yeah.
did all these pop songs, like he was raking in, like, you know. So yeah, man, artists should be free to create what they want to create. You know, Drake was doing dog da na na what going on. Then
Yeah.
he's doing Afro beats, one dance, whatever genre that comes
Yeah.
under. And he's doing like drill with Heady One. Then he's doing next things with gigs. Like,
Yeah, man.
I'm glad you mentioned Drake, actually. He's a good model in regards to just making what you want to make. Just do what you want to make. And if
Yeah.
people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But somebody will.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And I think, like you said, but when you know music and you're a fan of your own music, I think you can decide. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? If it's whack, you know what whack music sounds like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, if you attempt a genre and you're like, shouldn't try that again. Do you know what I mean? The last time I try and mix classical with country like that, you know. But if you know, you try it, see what happens, man. That's how you make a recipe, you know.
Yeah. 100%.
But yo, we're giving the people a fat load of content in this interview. I'm hoping everyone will vibe to it, help get them through lockdown and all that. We got to do this sooner next time, man. We can't leave such a big gap.
Bro, 100%. This is what? January. So maybe mid-year we'll do another one, catch up,
Cool.
talk about music, where I'm at, where you're at, what you're vibing to. And yeah, man, let's get it popping again, my brother.
100.
And for all the viewers watching, please be sure to subscribe to this amazing channel. He's making amazing content for you to get you through lockdown, having honest conversations. He's bringing out answers that some musicians might not even thought about and raising relevant questions. So make sure you support, subscribe, and check out all the other videos, not just mine, but other artists as well, and share them. And make sure you tell a friend as well.
Yeah, thanks, man. Bless you for that. And yeah, I have to give you your flowers when you're here as well, man. This guy, always humble, it's always the same situation whenever I see this guy out. Like, I'll be talking and be like, I mean that faith child over there by the bar. Like, it's either that or you're chilling and then you see like some smoke on the stage and oh shoot, there's this faith child. The faith child just jumped out of the smoke. Like, where that come from? That's how it goes, man. But yeah, bless you for coming on, man.
Absolute pleasure, my brother. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, man. So you've been watching myself and Faith Child. Go definitely check out his music and everything else. We'll drop some links below. Stay tuned, stay close, stay blessed. Take care.